Okay, hey, how y'all doing today? This is Talks. Thank you for joining me. This is my YouTube blog, You Mentally, where I come to bring you valuable info for your mental, okay? Once you learn it, if you like it, share it with a friend, tell somebody else, help to enlighten and spread social awareness, and go ahead and drop down below and subscribe to this channel, please. Thank you. I appreciate your love. Let me give you 2 seconds to do that. 1, 2. Okay. So check this out. As promised, this is the video about Event 201. And if y'all haven't heard about this is the meeting that was held October 18th, 2019. It's about 6 months ago, okay? And what these people are doing are having a meeting to discuss a pandemic exercise, all right? This was a private meeting where only 130 people were invited, but it was live streamed to the public. And let me just help y'all understand something too. What they do is they make these meetings public because they don't want anybody to come back and say, well, y'all didn't tell people, or people didn't know people weren't. But what they try to make it do is make it seem like this is just an exercise. So similar to what we're dealing with right here in real life. All right. So y'all make y'all own decision, be y'all own judge. But I'm going to show y'all, and I'm going to skip forward just a little bit because she's just kind of talking and introducing. But I'm going to let y'all hear.
A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Experts agree unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
The mission of the Pandemic Emergency Board is to provide recommendations to deal with the major global challenges arising in response to an unfolding pandemic. The board is comprised of highly experienced leaders from business, public health, and civil society.
We could be looking at double the number of cases in 1 week and 16 times as many in a month if we are not able to stop the spread. That would be on the order of 500,000 cases, and it would continue to rise exponentially. In 3 months, we could be approaching 10 million cases.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic. And there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
We have known about caps-like viruses in animals and people for decades, but have not been successful at developing a licensed vaccine.
They're calling it caps, y'all.
I'm sure there are new technologies that may help.
On the video.
But it's going to be difficult. I am not optimistic about having a vaccine in time to be relevant during this pandemic.
Why would they be having an exercise like this? For what?
For this board,
unless you was practicing for the real thing?
How should governments, business, and international organizations allocate and distribute pandemic antivirals and medical supplies to the people who need them most?
What we've seen work very well in the HIV field is, in fact, procurement through the Global Fund. So having a centralized mechanism, so financially able to procure on behalf of affected countries can be critical. I think the second thing is it's going to be very important that for the business sector, for what the need is and where the need is and who are making the decisions.
I think that given that the countries most affected are those that are low and middle income countries with unequal access to technology, to finances, the UN has a worldwide footprint, universally recognized, and universal membership.
A global stockpile would certainly help ensure more rational and strategic allocation, but the reality is that we don't have the logistics capability, even within the UN, to bring that together in one place and run it. So this is where I think a collaboration between the international organizations like the World Health Organization and the private sector, which runs these supply chains for many purposes every day, understand where the supplies are, make smart decisions about how to allocate them to the people who need them in the places that need them the most, and then work with the industry to move those supplies from where they are today to where they need to be.
Just to underscore the point that cooperation among supply chain providers or businesses that have huge supply chains can add a lot of efficiency to the whole process.
The question is, can you, through this international mechanism, really promote commitments to doing this as quickly as possible and give people a sense that actually if they contribute more, that they will have a better chance of protecting their own populations and their country's security and health?
So to be completely clear, most of this production would already be committed in contracts.
Yes.
It is almost unheard of that people are producing product without having a forward commitment for the consumption of that product. So the first thing that needs to be done, because this is not something that the countries currently control, and those countries are going to bring about emergency situations and co-opt an existing supply chain.
I think it's not likely, I agree, that countries are not going to buy countermeasure to put into a global supply without retaining a large portion of it for themselves.
GNN News,
Public
y'all.
health
This is
agencies
supposed to
have
be like
issued travel
CNN.
advisories, while some countries have banned travel from the worst affected areas. As a result, the travel sector is taking a huge hit. Travel bookings are down 45% and many flights have been canceled. A ripple effect is racing through the service sector. Governments that rely on travel and tourism
This
as a
supposed to be
large
fake
part
news,
of their
y'all. This is
economies
the type of
are
stuff
being
that they
hit
send to
particularly hard.
teleprompters when they
How
sending
should
out
national
what they need to tell the public.
businesses and international organizations balance the risk of worsening disease that would be caused by the continued movement of people around the world against the risks of profound economic consequence of travel and trade bans?
If there's some sense that there's a UN institution that can do all of this, then I worry we're suffering from a delusional disorder on the power of the UN. It's really important to
Formerly
get those
World Bank.
industries
He
and
one of
their
the people
trade
that was in that
associations
listed in
and
that
an efficient
that court
leadership
proceeding that's getting
established, which
sued
is decentralized,
for
but has a collective responsibility
breaching data and using
accountability,
bioengineering for
and that needs
artificial
to be supported
intelligence.
by the public leadership.
What is essential, what is non-essential travel, we have to clarify this. Otherwise, if we go down to 20% bookings over a long period, the company will run down. That's a fact.
Yeah, there's a whole complex set of issues in a highly interdependent world on supply chains that are just in time. We need to think about how much flex there is in that just-in-time supply chain system and make sure it keeps running. I think it's going to take specificity, and it's going to take knowledge that only the private sector has. The UN can play an important coordinating facilitation role, but the companies know where those commodities are, where they move, how to move them. And that's where a type of public-private collaboration that we have not generally had in these crises needs to be put together pretty quickly.
So this is what they do, y'all. They have these type of meetings and stuff.
We are not
while we
out of money.
Not paying attention.
Yet.
They have no
The
idea.
fact is we are trending in a dangerous direction and something needs to change.
So the policy question for this board now is how should
all this is supposed to be a
financial
simulated
resources be
experiment.
prioritized? Are there nodes that we cannot allow to fail? What is your sense of priorities? We don't have money to pay for all of these urgent problems.
So at the moment, we want the funds, right? You need the money. So where's the money?
China's CDC.
Government kind of supplies some money. A lot of, private sectors, some are sitting here, you have some money. But now you need a really coordinated, centralized efforts.
Hotels will be experiencing, crippling losses doing that. And we know that the hotel business in itself makes up 5% of the GDP.
Governments need to be willing to do things that are out of their historical perspective. For the most
Why is
part,
Marriott
it's really
people there?
a war footing that we need to be on.
We shouldn't underestimate the power of entrepreneurship.
So they got China CDC and US CDC people in this meeting. They telling you,
subsidies of
they
that
putting the
nature
names
to
in the
increase
titles.
Manufacturing of those types of products. It can happen quickly. A Marshall type plan, don't mean to say that exactly, but a Marshall plan that can go into effect can stimulate change very quickly.
Countries are reacting in different ways as to how best to manage the overwhelming amounts of dis and misinformation circulating over the internet. In some cases, limited internet shutdowns are being implemented to quell panic.
How much control of information should there be, and by whom? And how can false information be effectively challenged? And what if that false information is coming from companies or from governments?
I think it's very important that we make sure that there is concise communication with all healthcare facilities where these patients are being treated so that there isn't mass panic.
We're at a moment where the social media platforms have to step forward and recognize the moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting accurate information.
So they're telling y'all what's going on.
Scientific and health communities to
Facebook was listed in that document too.
The zone of accurate information, because to try to put the genie back in the bottle of the misinformation and disinformation is nigh impossible.
One thing we haven't spoken about, and I'm wondering whether it's time to talk about this, is a step up from the part of the governments on enforcement actions against fake news.
I personally do not believe that trying to shut things down in terms of information is either practical or desirable.
Fake news.
We do have,
they need to stop.
A couple of strategies that are available to us, one of which is the flood strategy, second of which is relying and informing and equipping trusted sources of information with the facts so they can then pass that on. But we also need to actually think about a technological answer to this.
Scenario epilogue.
The outcome of the CAPS pandemic in Event 201 was catastrophic. 65 million people died in the first 18 months. The outbreak was small at first and initially seemed controllable, but then it started spreading in densely crowded and impoverished neighborhoods of megacities.
Impoverished
From that point on,
neighborhoods.
the spread of the
What the
disease
fuck is
was
that about?
explosive. Within 6 months, cases were occurring in nearly every country. The global economy was in a free fall.
You got money, it doesn't affect you?
11%.
What the fuck is
Stock
he
markets
talking about?
around the world plummeted between 20 and 40% and headed into a downward cycle of fear and low expectation. Businesses were not borrowing, banks were not lending. Everyone was just hoping to hunker down and weather the storm. Economists say the economic turmoil caused by such a pandemic will last for years, perhaps a decade. The societal impacts, the loss of faith in government, the distrust of news, and the breakdown of social cohesion could last even longer. We have to ask, did this need to be so bad? Are there things we could have done in the 5 to 10 years leading up to the pandemic that would have lessened the catastrophic consequences? We believe the answer is yes. So, are we as a global community now finally ready to do the hard work needed to prepare for the next pandemic?
All right, so listen, that's that, but I'm gonna just show y'all this. I'm gonna show y'all the first page of this document, and if y'all didn't check that video out, go back to the video that I really reviewed and got into it. But basically, this is a document from the actual transcripts that was filed February 26, 2020. As you can see, United States Court, Southern District of California. These are the plaintiffs over here. As you can see, y'all may be able to recognize some of the names, may not. Our organization, the world's people, victim of persecution, rape, torture, concentration camp, sex, human and organ trafficking, America around the world, democracy advocates, and so on and so forth. Y'all can see some few more names up there. And basically these are the defendants: Google, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hunter, Hillary Clinton, Schmidt. I'm just gonna probably mention names that y'all know. DeepMind Incorporated, Alphabet Incorporated, the World Bank. That's the dude. That's the company that the dude that was talking worked for, that I was just saying listed in this this court proceeding. Neuralink, Tesla, Larry Page, y'all see Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Microsoft, Bill Gates. Y'all see CNN, Cable News Network, MSNBC, New York Times, Time Magazine, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Harvard. That's Harvard University, y'all. Source Fund Management. It was another one down here that tripped me out. Oh yeah, Huawei, that Chinese technology company. Let me see. Hanson Robotics, Alibaba, SenseTime, Our Carbon. So y'all see what's going on. And like these are some of the charges. Misuse of artificial intelligence, cybernetic robots. I'm just gonna give y'all a little brief overview. Violation of Article 1. Y'all see that? Genocide Convention, terroristic weapons, biodigital social programming of the human race by biometrics and artificial intelligence. Let me scroll down because it was some down here I didn't even know earlier. This was just tripped me out. Creating an artificial intelligence system that can recognize and decode if humans are resistant to artificial intelligence, not informing the public, defendants, products, and services, use proximity sensors and other smartphone and IoT patented technologies that connect, manipulate, and reprogram people's thoughts, neural networks and brain chemistry connecting to human nervous systems and electrical fields. Man, it just, these people are really trying to, creating and bioengineering nefarious xenobots technology mixed with stem cell robotics and African legs, bringing to life an alien artificial life that can mutate or be programmed to spread disease or kill off the world's citizens in numerous ways. This is just extracting all people's private, biometric, and quantum AI superintelligence that endangers all human beings on 5G and 6G network. So they not only have 5G, y'all, they already got a 6G. So if y'all interested in that and seeing more information about that document, then y'all go back and check that video out and let me know what y'all think about the video and the footage that I showed y'all. And y'all can go to this website, like I said, to check it out for yourself. It's Event 201. And they have like 5 videos, y'all, of all these are supposed to be pandemic exercise. That was just the first segment. So, once again, y'all do your own research, be your own judge, and decide what you think. But if you like this video, you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like, dislike, comment, subscribe, okay? And make sure that you share. Each one teach one. Don't cost you nothing to share this information, share the knowledge, help to create social awareness, y'all. We need to tell people about this because not enough people know, and a lot of people getting fluff with the fluffy stuff that they putting out, okay? So we need y'all to wake up and we need y'all to stand up. Okay? Let's get it together. Let's come together. Let's try to figure this thing out. Because, if we continue to overlook it, we continue to ignore it, and we continue to act as if it's not real and it doesn't exist, by the time we can even think about it, we will not be able to use our own minds, okay? Because they'll be able to control them anyway. So while we still got time, and while we able to really think for ourselves still, let's start doing that, figuring this out. All right, as always, I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is your girl, Giselle, the She Boss. This is She Boss Talks. You are on YouTube. And y'all, please come back again. As always, I speak nothing but infinite blessings and abundance on your life, your wealth, your health, your existence, your community, your family, and your love. All right? Later.